America is still deep in denial, which is the first stage of the awakening. This denial will be wiped away when the dollar collapses. For now, the economy is still functioning and food and fuel are still available. The lights turn on and American Idol is still the center of attention. Americans still have the illusion of wealth and normalcy. They are still stuck in the false left-right paradigm and think that some other sock puppet will turn things around. When the dollar collapses, all American illusions will collapse with it. Deep denial will turn into deep anger. The violence I expect in all urban areas in the United States will make all other global riots pale in comparison. America is deeply infused with arrogance, denial, narcissism, drugs, and violence. There is no other society that I know of that has the degree of intensity and combination of these factors. So here are the 5 reasons why American riots will be the worst in the world. Number 1, arrogance.
Don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, you are too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power. And I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God.
All of our lives we've been fed the lie that somehow we are better than everybody else. We believe this so much that we feel it's morally acceptable to stick our noses in everybody's business. We have 777 military bases all over the world. Our currency is the world's reserve currency. We control most of the international organizations like the UN, IMF, and World Bank. We control the world's shipping lanes. Our media is the most popular and sought-after propaganda in the world. Our corporations harvest the resources that our empire provides. This has led to the feeling that the American way of life is not negotiable. We print debt and we consume. This way of life was only possible by the very real and hard sacrifices made by Americans long dead. America today is nothing more than a spoiled brat blowing through the last of its inheritance. The only thing that the United States is number 1 at is spreading debt and death. This American arrogance will be turned on to other Americans as the dollar collapses. We will no longer be able to maintain a global empire of force without a functioning currency. All of our troops will be forced to come home, and we will no longer be able to import 25% of the world's oil. This sudden shift will turn arrogant Americans on each other as they seek to enforce their inflated sense of self-worth onto others. They will think that the world somehow owes them something, and they believe that lesser people should be made to sacrifice for them. After all, Dick Cheney did say the American way of life is not negotiable. Everything is fine today. That is our illusion. Voltaire. The second factor, and what will make American riots the worst, is denial. For those that aren't arrogant, they are in denial, and somehow they will be okay as they are good people. They believe that America will recover and the American dream is still alive. They believe this because they either lack the ability to logically see through the lies, or they believe that people ruling them have the same morals as they do. You cannot spread freedom with war. A nation cannot enforce their will upon another nation any more than you can enforce your will upon another. There will always be blowback, and of course that is the plan of your rulers. They do not share the same values as you do. They seek to create chaos and division so that they can garner more power and profits. You can ignore reality, but you cannot ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. Ayn Rand. The dollar collapse will end the ability of the average American to deny their active or passive participation in the dominance of the world by spreading debt and death. When people's entire life savings are wiped away, they will wonder what their life has been all about. All of the missed times with their family, connections with others, have been stained by the pursuit of material gains. Only when everything is taken from them will they start to see the real importance of life. Many will not be able to come to terms with this coming reality. Those that are aware and prepared stand a great chance of making it through this paradigm shift and thriving. Number 3 on the list is narcissism. The amount of narcissism in America is epidemic. The fascination with celebrities and their clothes consumes so many women. Men are addicted to worshiping sports figures. We have a fear of competition, and we view others as enemies. This leads to shallow and transitory relationships. Americans consume their way into debt as they try to create an outer facade to hide the inner void in their vapid lives. The baby boomer generation is known as the me generation. Their obsessive pursuit of material possessions was matched by their embrace of debt. The dollar collapse is going to hit the baby boomers the hardest, as they're forced to come to terms with the trail of pain that they have left in their wake. Broken families and debt are just the tip of the iceberg. The war and the debt machines they enabled and unleashed upon the world is a much harder reality that they will have to deal with. The real problem is the sad fact that most of them will be too old to get a second chance on life. Number 4, drugs. millions of Americans have turned to drugs to fill the void of their true purpose in their lives. Instead of dealing with a past hurt or seeking a higher purpose in their lives by helping others and using their natural talents to make the world better, people turn to drugs. The worst kind of drugs are the ones that people believe that are making them better. Powerful psychotropic drugs like selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, or more commonly known as SSRIs or antidepressants. These drugs are extremely powerful and can cause psychotic breaks that lead to violence if they come off them too soon. I would say that these drugs are much more powerful than guns because they cause people to break from reality and cause violence. I don't have time just yet to go into the mass medication of America or the real reason why marijuana is illegal, but I do want to warn everybody of one thing. Nearly 10% of the country, or 27 million Americans, are on these antidepressants. Knowing that there is only a 1-month supply in the system and the kind of psychotic breaks that will happen if these people come off these drugs too fast, this is definitely not a good thing. When the dollar collapses, we will not only have to worry about the 7 to 10 day supply of food and fuel in the system, we will also have to worry about the 1 in 10 Americans who are not going to be medicated when their world paradigm collapses. The fifth reason why American riots will be the worst is violence. Violence has been a part of the American culture since the beginning of our country. We have the most armed population and the highest crime rates in the world. The violence we will see in some parts of this country will be as bad as the Reign of Terror from the French Revolution. Some parts of this country will try to confront a post-dollar paradigm by embracing freedom and honest money. Others will try to hold on to power by becoming more tyrannical and finding enemies with their neighbors. We are surrounded by violence, and we have been desensitized to antisocial behavior. Our movies and video games show killings of others, but rarely the consequences of those actions. Other antisocial behavior has been normalized. I even realized that some of my favorite shows like Seinfeld or Curb Your Enthusiasm was really all about normalizing antisocial behavior. In fact, in the season finale of Seinfeld, it was based off of a man getting mugged, and all four main characters not only not helping the man, but actually making fun of the man as he's violently robbed. This lack of empathy is at the root of our problems. So now we have a society that cares only about themselves and their own materialistic needs. But we also have a society that no longer cares about other people's feelings. The American riots will be the worst in the world because of the amount of arrogance, denial, narcissism, drugs, and violence in our country. These factors are systemic and affect every level of society. I do fear that our nation is sick enough to unleash a series of false flag events and spread our violence even further.
It does appear now that a lot of these torpedo attacks were from the sonar man, you see. And they get keyed up to a thing like this. Everything they hear on the sonar is a torpedo.
You're pretty sure there was a torpedo attack then?
Oh, no doubt about that. I think. No doubt about that.
No, it was just confusion. And events afterwards showed that our judgment that we'd been attacked that day was wrong. It didn't happen.
The violent anger phase of the 5 stages awakening will not last long and will not happen in every part of America. There will be a few months that will shake the faith of mankind. Those that live by the sword will die by the sword. But after the most violent are either killed or brought to justice or just burned out, we will enter a societal depression as we try to come to terms with what just happened. This period could last for years as we struggle with the loss of wealth and life. I am hopeful that this collapse will actually be the beginning of something really great for mankind. A new paradigm not based on debt and death is a very real outcome of this collapse. With the collapse of the dollar, those that were lured into a senseless, narcissistic consumer lifestyle will be forced to come to the understanding that instant gratification is not why we were put on this earth. Those that were ill prepared for the collapse will start asking questions. They will seek answers, and then they will want blood. The elite that created, perpetuated, and profited off this paradigm will be running for cover as the world wakes up to what they have done. This new way of life will flush away consumerism, militarism, and narcissism like a bad habit. I do not believe this collapse will result in a one world order. The elite that are trying to desperately make this happen will no longer be able to operate in secrecy. Their minions will lack any legitimacy with the people that they rule. After all, who's going to trust a president that says he did not see this coming when you and I see it coming from miles away? The result after this very violent anger phase is going to be a massive decentralization of power, not more centralization of power. Local communities, cities, counties, and states will assert more power over the daily activities of our lives as power flows to the most local and responsive level. Some will slip into tyranny to make order out of chaos. Others will attract the best and brightest by embracing freedom and honest money. The end result is a life where we can reach our highest and best self. How we get there is a rough road, but one I feel is easily traveled if you're aware and prepared.